seeing. I don't. Now we can see.
Okay. Your reflection strategies as teachers, as educators, and then on that ground, it can be relevant to teachers of other fields as well. So we two faculty members of our English department at the University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh, we have done 4 case studies, I mean, just to implement reflection strategies as recommended, suggested by scholars of, I mean, TESOL and ELT, teaching English to the students of other languages, and then ELT, English language teaching, and 3 case studies that were done in Malaysia, to Malaysian University College. And the other case study was done in Bangladesh at ULAB. So let's talk about just a quick look what is reflection. Everyday thing, common act, because we reflect on our past and our existing ongoing actions, and then we try to improve ourselves, or from that point onward we bring changes to action. So it's a response to our past experience that utilizes relevant facts, and it involves collecting information about students and about one's and educators' own experiences by keeping notes with a future target in need, and target or teaching or improve our teaching. And according to another study of mine, in which I have shown that reflective teaching is a thing, it's like a logical counterpart of constructive. If we really want to implement constructive learning, I mean, that is from the learner's side, from the teacher's side, that the way is reflection, be it social constructivism or cognitive constructivism. In both cases, from the teacher's side, the way is reflection indeed. Reflection can be of 2 types, as Stone suggested. One is reflection in action, or while teaching. I mean, on the spot, a teacher, while, for example, being in a classroom, I mean, teaching a class, we keep on thinking in the background of our mind, we keep on reflecting what we are doing, and we can change ourselves, ourselves on the spot. That is reflection in action. The other reflection, which is actually the most popular way of reflection, or systematic way of reflection, because the previous one intuitive, on the spot. Second one is systematic, and we can use lots of strategies to that. That is on retrospective for performance as educators, in order to gain knowledge from our own actions, teaching actions. In the fields of ELT or TESOL, authors like Richards, Ramirez, Sockert, Watts, they have worked a lot to strategies. I mean, how to implement and why to implement. Okay, one example would be very interesting, I believe, to everyone. For example, in an English class, say we can see some students have some difficulty to distinguish between he and she. So it's a given fact in front of us. But through reflection, I mean, by collecting other information about the students, background information, we can find out the dots. For example, if the students belong, I mean, if they are from Malay background, I mean, Bahasa Malaysia or Bahasa Indonesia background, it's natural for them not to distinguish. Or even from Bengal background, because in Bengali, the word is just one. We don't have different words for male and female, he and she. And that may be the reason, I mean, kind of mother language interference may be the reason why the student cannot distinguish between the 2 words. Or say the student is finding it difficult to spell the word central, I mean, write it with S, or college, they write with K instead of C. That may be the reason. That is because of C having 2 pronunciations, which actually we don't see in other languages, because in other languages, letter has a corresponding phonetic, I mean, manifestation. one pronunciation only. Whereas in English, C may be for ka or C may be for sa, like CELL cell, but COLLEGE college, GET get, but GEL gel. That's a problem of learning English from learner's side. It's truly difficult. So by relating facts about the student's mother tongue background or other details, we can understand, then we can improve our teaching. So here, studies, we have used four reflection strategies. I mean, just to see how it works. One is reflective inquiry group. The other one is teacher's journal, student's diary, or we can say their marginalia, margin notes. I mean, the notes they put in their books, exercise books, and teacher evaluation we have in the universities today. So the first case study, let me give you the picture first. The strategy is simple: reflective inquiry group. That means some years together of the same university or say of the same department will form a group, and usually they do it when they want to understand the situation of one common student. I mean, the students have in their respective courses. So that's just one need why we may use reflective inquiry group. So what happened? In this case, we have two undergraduate female students, say student X and student Y, of two ELT courses at a private university's English department in Dhaka, which is practically my university, ULAB. So what happened? We have seen one student had very poor and intermediate attendance all of a sudden, because the same student was very regular in her previous trimesters. So all of a sudden, she was found to be intermittently attending the classes. So we became reflective and we formed the inquiry group just to find out what was happening in the background. And then the outcome was interesting because this student was found to be hanging around with another student, I mean, her friend, and that other student, I mean, had a common course with her, and in that course, both of them had 100% attendance, full attendance. But this student was very intermittent in attending course A. So I mean, because of this reflective inquiry group, we could find out about what was happening to the student and what was happening to the other students with whom she was found to be hanging around. And that was the outcome. So we could find out the problem. Then what we did, we called both the students, I mean, for a counseling session. And also we tried to find the same course, find where we put both students together so that her attendance improves. And it happened, it has improved. It was the first case. And for this kind of reflective inquiry group, what sort of information can be useful? We have provided a table here. For example, we can see the attendance pattern, whether it is in terms or that is about attendance, but how about participation? Is the student in class active in class or just passive, sitting back? Uh, or the major areas of weakness? I mean, the knowledge is, for example, vocabulary and grammar, or listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And if we go more precisely into the details of listening, say, we can think about the accent barrier, noise barrier, comprehension problem, information retention problem. The student, how far can he or she hold on information or retain information when, for example, listening and conversing with someone. And then for speaking, say the problems like introvert nature, low confidence, communication difficulties, etc. For reading, it could be lack of habituation, being stuck words, and not seeing the contextual clue or the bigger picture. In writing, we can count the problems like mind mapping, organizing ideas, spelling, handwriting, and then the rubrics like margins and fonts, etc. And the student's affective status, mental condition, for example, whether he or she is enthusiastic or not, lazy or not, casual, bored, stable, patient or impatient. So, I mean, for creating a student profile, we can use this information, and then we can reflect situation and on our own action, whether it's corresponding to the student's needs. Okay, the second case study is based on Teacher's Journal, and this is a Sudanese field student from she was doing a university English enhancement program at a Malaysian university college, and the student never could pass the proficiency tests because only on that condition they would be released to start their bachelor program, I mean the university program. So she was not able to make it for continuous consecutive 3 semesters. She could not do it. Then we became reflective, and then we, I mean, checked actually all the teachers' journals, because we used to maintain some journals or diaries, and by putting them together or by cross-checking, say 3 teachers' journal and diary notes, what we found interesting. The student actually was very good at speaking. I mean, she could communicate orally, but when she tried to write, her words and sentences would kind of fly around, and she could not keep on one topic. I mean, even for 3 sentences. Say after 2 or 3 sentences, she would lose the track. So that was clear showing dyslexia. And we were doing this case study. We didn't have any training on special needs, for example, dyslexia, autism, etc. We didn't have that training, but we had, I mean, a basic idea about it. But after doing this, we could understand the problem of the student, which actually was holding her back. And she was not passing her course for consecutive 3 semesters. And then we sent her for special support. The third case study is about the student's diary, students' marginalia, margin notes, and their exercise book notes, etc. Let's see how it worked. Okay, it was the case of 3 Chinese male students. I mean, again, who were enrolled for their pre-university English enhancement at the same university, Malaysian University College. And one of the 3 students, they were all 3 were male. One of the 3 all of a sudden was found, I mean, to be sitting at the back. And because earlier he was known to be very agile, very active, but in the current semester when we did this case study, I mean, he was always he was seen to be sitting at the back. So we tried to collect the students' diary, I mean, by requesting them or with the help of other teachers. And what we found was again interesting. I mean, the course where the student was actually sitting always at the back was taught by a teacher, a male teacher, I mean, who was too soft, and he most often he would pat his male students to appraise their good performance, and he showed some feminine I mean, talks, feminine attitude, feminine movements, and that actually seemed that gave the students the impression of him being a gay. And these students were from China, so naturally it was a little uncomfortable for them. And that was the reason for that particular student to be always sitting at the back and just to avoid the teacher, he would sit at the back. So just by collecting student notes, we could find it. So that's how now the case more or less all universities today have the systematic evaluation system. I mean, the students do it at the end of their course. We may have 2 kinds of evaluation, like one is teacher evaluation, the other one can be course evaluation. And this case moves around a group of BA in English student at our university ULAB, and they were all course. And due to our English as a medium of instruction, EMI policy, the students actually were struggling to understand certain concepts. And we saw that it was during COVID, and we saw that students' grades were drastically falling. Then we try to look into the students' teacher evaluation feedback, and what came out was interesting. That the student did well in the other courses where the teachers actually did translating. That means switching from one language to another, usually taking help of their mother tongue to explain difficult concepts. And the students did better in those courses. And they did the other courses where EMI was perfectly followed, they did it badly. And another interesting finding was this situation was more evident when it was during COVID. That means after COVID or before COVID, the situation was different. So during COVID, because all the classes were online, EMI, English as a medium of instruction, strict EMI policy actually affected the students, and they could be helped only by translanguaging. So that is all. Our 4 case studies actually have helped us to understand the need for reflection and reflective strategies, so that as teachers we don't fossilize, and we don't depend on our theoretical knowledge, because our students continuously change, and they have their individual differences and ambiguities, nuances. And the most interesting thing is we grow old, our students, because every year we get new students, they come with new ideas, new situations. And as teachers and educators, it's our good opportunity to be always, on the go, and to be trendy, and to be reflective. And reflection is the way. Reflective strategies can be the solution. That's all on my side. Thank you very much for me. If you have any